Hey everyone, so I have some good news and I have some bad news. Let's start with the bad news. Last week you saw me running hill repeats and I went easy, medium, hard, and on the hard ones I was going pretty much all out, and I think I tweaked my hip flexor in the process. For the last week or so, my right hip flexor has been bothering me. I won't call it an injury. I'll use a term that the Brits use called a niggle. It loosely translates to a really tiny injury that won't prevent me from training, but I really have to pay attention to. And that's what I've got in my right hip flexor right now. So the good news is that I'm not going to train today. I'm going to take a day off. And instead, I'll take this opportunity to tell you 5 injury preventing techniques that I learned over the course of my career. So let's jump right into them. Number 1, proper shoes. I cannot stress this one enough, and that's why I made it number 1. If you're gonna train, make sure you have the right shoes. Now, how do you know what shoe is right for you? I'm gonna tell you guys a secret. Almost every single brand makes a shoe that is right for you. Doesn't matter if it's Nike, doesn't matter if it's Reebok, doesn't matter if it's Brooks. They all make great shoes because they're all made in the same damn country. I think the challenge here is finding the model that fits your foot best. And usually the best way to do that is to go into your local running store and get fitted. I have a few different models that work well with my stride and my foot, and I have a few models that don't work well. Right now, I'm doing most of my miles in the Brooks Launch, mainly just because it holds up to a lot of miles. It's lightweight, and I can do just about anything in it, from tempo runs all the way up to a 13-mile long run. Not that I'm really doing that right now for my 100-meter training, but it is possible. So make sure that you pick a shoe that fits your foot, your stride pattern, and your training goals. That leads me into number 2. Start warm to stay warm. You've already picked the right shoes, now pick the right apparel. It always bothers me when I go out to talk to high school or college cross country or track teams, and I see kids in 30-degree weather and they're warming up in shorts. You are just asking to get injured. If you're going to do this right, make sure you choose the right apparel. It doesn't have to be expensive apparel, but make sure you have a good pair of warm-ups. In college, we didn't get any gear given to us. We had to buy our own warm-ups. I wore a dirty old pair of sweatpants and a dirty old sweatshirt, and I won 7 NCAA titles warming up that way. The important thing is that you start warm and you stay warm. You know, tomorrow I'm gonna go out for an early jog and I'm gonna be totally bundled up. I'm gonna have sweatpants, I'm gonna have a sweatshirt, I'm gonna have a vest, I'm gonna have a hat, I'm gonna have gloves. I might be stripping layers off, but you better believe I'm gonna start warm. Now let's go to the other side of that equation. Tip number 3, icing. And there are several ways to ice down after a workout, but I really believe in icing as a way to reduce inflammation, to reduce pain, to manage those tiny injuries that creep in. I like to ice in 3 different ways. After a hard workout, I love to sit in an ice bath. Now, I don't do that a lot in the winter, more just because I'm worried about getting sick. But in the summers, especially during track season, I used to ice bath after every hard session and after long runs as well. You can make an ice bath indoors. You can sit in an ice bath, at your school if they have them. Or a lot of times what I did, I just walked into the river. The river was at about 50 degrees, which was my ideal ice bath temperature. And I just go into my navel and I just stand there for 10 minutes. Typically, I would ice bath for about 10 minutes. I'd get out, I'd dry off, and I'd put my sweats back on. Other ways I like to ice, I love to use a bag of peas. It's cheap. The peas mold to your joints and your musculature. They're reusable. The list goes on and on. Do yourself a favor, buy yourself a bag of frozen peas at the store next time you're there. And the third way I like to ice is I'll actually fill up a paper cup with water and freeze it, and then I'll peel the paper off, and I'll actually use that cup and the cube to massage small joints. Like, especially with my knees, when they get sore, it's so nice to use the edge of that ice cube to massage my patellar tendon, to get into the nooks and crannies around the patellar. I will actually use that cube to not only ice, but to also add a little bit of massage. Which leads me into tip number 4, massage therapy. If you can afford it, make sure you have a PT, make sure you have an LMT, a licensed massage therapist. I know that not everyone can afford that and they may not be at your disposal, but there's a lot of other ways that you can add massage into your daily training regimen to make sure that you're avoiding injuries. The 2 things that I really like to use, I don't get paid by either of these companies, I just genuinely like them. I like the massaging, vibrating roller from Hyperice, and I also like Theragun. And for me, I kind of use them depending on the little aches or pains. I like to roll the big muscles out on the hyper ice, and I really like that Theragun for getting into some muscles that just don't seem to want to let up. I use both of those on my IT band, and this afternoon I'll actually dig into my hip flexor with that Theragun. And that leads me to my final tip. It's the most important tip of all. Don't be a dumbass. I'm gonna say it again. Do not be a dumbass. It took me literally 2 decades to learn this one, so please learn from my mistakes. Just be smart about your training. You know, I remember so many times I would try to run through an injury because I just had to hit a number on paper. I'd be at 66 miles for the week, and I'm like, I have to get 4 more, so I hit 70 miles for the week. It's a meaningless number, and that easy jog on an injured knee or an injured ankle would ultimately cost me 2 or 3 weeks in training. It wasn't worth it. Listen to your body. Right now, I could probably go do a workout, but it's cold out, and my hip hurts. And so I'm just gonna take a day off. It's not the end of the world. Always remember, it's more important to look at your training as an entire picture rather than one individual workout or one individual run. I know that if I'm smart and if I baby this little injury just a little bit, it'll feel a lot better tomorrow and I can have a much better training session. So I'm being smart about it. I encourage you guys to be smart about your little injuries. Be smart about your prehab. Take care of your body. Listen to your body. So that you can ultimately get the most out of it. I hope you found that interesting. I think I'll be a lot better in the next couple days, and I want to get back in the gym for next week's Workout Wednesday video. I think this one's going to be really good. So I'll see you then. Thanks for watching.